Hello, and thank you for tuning into our program. My name is Mike Papakostas, and my partner here is Nicholas Beadnell. Welcome to the program.
As Mike said, welcome to the program. Today we will be talking about the current state of the CPS system and the length of time it takes to sever a parent's right in the court system today.
Did you know that unless a child has been out of his or her home in the foster care system for 15 of the last 22 months, the state has to file a motion in the court system to sever parents' rights? Terminating a parent's rights can take years and takes a huge emotional toll on the child.
Not only can it take a huge emotional toll that affects a child for a lifetime, but unless a child is abandoned or the court can prove that a parent has committed murder or manslaughter against another child of the parent, then the case has to be pursued through the court system.
And it's not like once the court system is started that the child is protected either.
Oh no. The system is required under the Adoption and Safe Families Act to try and make every effort to reunite the kids with their biological parents.
So this means that even after a case of sexual or physical abuse, the parents are still given the opportunity to see their kids and possibly get them back?
Exactly. And while they usually aren't giving them the time to bond on a one-on-one setting, it can still have a huge impact on the child. Let's move on to our next topic, though.
Yes, let's take a look at the problems in foster care specifically.
There's a journal written by Brenda Jones Harden where she states children in foster care are biologically vulnerable to many of the poor developmental outcomes.
She goes on by saying, many studies have pointed to the deleterious impact of foster care on children's physical health, cognitive and functioning academically, and social emotional well-being. In the area of physical health, pediatric and public health scholars have documented that foster children have a higher level of morbidity throughout childhood than do children not involved in the foster care system. Harden is not the only writer who expressed concern over foster care. Fatima Badruddin tells a short but heartbreaking narrative at the beginning of her journal.
The story is about a girl named Jenna. On Jenna's 18th birthday, she arrived at home only to discover that her foster parents had taken all of her belongings and placed them in the driveway. She stayed at a friend's house for a few days, but soon she became homeless.
Exactly. Badruddin provides a statistic later on that She provides a statistic later that says more than 20% of children in foster care do not find a permanent home. While our solution calls for orphans to be reunited with their biological parents, there are times when that is just not possible. The next best thing will be to find a permanent home for orphans. But here in Arizona, 1 out of every 5 kids do not get so lucky.
And did you know that the chances of a child that is taken off the reservation is even less likely to find a permanent home?
Why is that?
Because of the tribal law of the reservation, CPS has to go through both the tribal court and the regular court system in order to remove a child in an unsafe environment on a reservation. This can take several years to accomplish.
And if I remember correctly, once a child is removed from the court system, a family cannot adopt that child unless they are from the same reservation without getting back through the tribal court system to get permission, because adoption by a non-Native American family is frowned upon.
That is exactly right. Here's why it needs to be fixed.
Once again, we will go back to the journal by Brenda Jones Harden, where she states, children in foster care, as a result of exposure to risk factors such as poverty, maltreatment, and a foster care experience, face multiple threats to their healthy development, including poor physical health, attachment disorders, compromised brain functioning, inadequate social skills, and mental health difficulties. Children have to go through a lot as it is. All of these factors make it that much harder on them.
This is a major period in everyone's life, so we feel that we should help everyone get the best opportunity that they can, no matter what their scenario is.
This is how we plan to fix that problem specifically.
Since redoing the entire adoption and foster care system is too broad of a task, our solution is to lessen the restrictions on adoptions of orphans on the Native American Reservations.
Firstly, we will try to make every effort to reunite children with their biological parents. Of course, there are instances where this is simply not possible. In this case, our goal is to make it easier for kids to be permanently adopted instead of going through foster care and group homes.
This means that we will try and make it easier for non-tribe members to adopt orphans. Adoption at least provides a permanent home with a family that is hopefully in it for the long haul.
Many children that are taken from their home never get adopted and age out of the group home, without a family to turn to, and due to budget constraints in the state of Arizona, once they reach the age of 18, they are let out of the group home with no real chance at life.
This is true, Mike, and sadly the statistics suggest that this will be a repeating process with their kids eventually being taken away from them as well.
So with all this evidence, we conclude that there are major changes that need to be made in the Child and Protective Services system.
I totally agree, Mike. Many would argue against this and say that if we let child protective systems have more power to take away kids, then they could abuse it. I really don't see this being the case, though, because I don't think anyone wants to take a child out of a perfectly good home and place them into state custody.
Well, I agree with you there. I do think that it is easier that it needs. I do think that it is something that needs to be regulated by the court system, but there needs to be an easier way to take kids in rough situations and get them on the right track again without it taking years and years.
I will agree to that.
Well, that about wraps up the time. Thank you for tuning in today, and we hope that we have provided you insight in the Child Protective Service System and that we can hopefully solve this problem.